is up, bros? I'm Caleb, and unfortunately, Rose
I'm not
this week.
Rose.
You're not Rose.
Yeah, so we got the lesser, the worse co-host. I'm so sorry to be here instead of Rose, but it's me, DJ. Hi, how's it going?
Rose is out of commission this week, and he will be out of commission next week as well. So we got some of our favorite guests coming to fill in some slots. But yeah, so yeah, we're joined by.
Poor Things was rough, man. I get it.
Yeah, just taking some time to recover from that. But anyway, typically we are a couple of bros on a mission to give you guys the most detailed movie reviews out there with as little bias as possible. Welcome to the All Bros. This week on the podcast, I once again have not been watching movies. I've been watching shows and stuff. And yeah.
What shows have you been watching?
Let's see, what did I just finish? I watched, or I finally finished. Oh dang it! What did I just watch? I'm forgetting the show. Like I've been watching Bad Batch on the regular.
Okay.
I'm loving that. What else am I watching? I finished Twisted Metal. Gosh, that's gonna bug me. Hold on. There's a show I'm watching, and I forgot what it is.
It's not Fallout, is it?
I think it's on Netflix.
Everyone's been loving them some Fallout.
Oh yes, I finished Fallout. Love it. That's the show. That's what the one I was watching. That one is the one that I watched and finished, and over the moon about it. Absolutely love what that show was.
Did you play the game at all, or did you just have the show?
Just the show. Which is, I could never get into Fallout, but I'm super big into Skyrim. So it's a weird like area to be in for me, because it's like I know that they're both Ubisoft games, and
I mean they're both Bethesda.
Oh, Bethesda, not Ubisoft.
How dare you? They're both Bethesda. Don't you dare give Ubisoft any more credit. Hey, listen, I'm sorry to like break up the flow. Am I coming in like choppy or like super out of phase right now?
A little bit. There's like a really big
because
delay.
I finished asking that question and like 5 seconds later, yeah, big huge delay. So anyway, the Fallout games I think you should start out with is because you have Game Pass, right?
Yes.
I just started downloading Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 4 because those were like my main two that I played back in the day, and those are both on Game Pass. Well, I think Fallout 4, Fallout 76, of New Vegas, and I think one other one are on Game Pass right now. And but yeah, New Vegas is great. Fallout 4 is great. I would play either one of those, and I think you'll be into it. If you like Skyrim, it's just post-apocalyptic Skyrim. Like, it's great.
Yeah, I gave Fallout 4 a chance, and maybe it was just because my brother was being a snob about it that turned me off to the game. Because like I saw him playing it, and then I attempted to like give it a go, but he was being a real freaking asshole about it. So maybe that's what turned me off to it, because I was just like, whatever, forget this. Skyrim's better. But yeah, I need to give it another shot. Like, dude, I found like this is what happened. Like when I watched Twisted Metal, I was just like, oh shit, like I want to play Twisted Metal.
By the way, Twisted Metal, when you guys were talking about that, it reminded me, how dare you disrespect Sweet Tooth's name? He is the man. Okay, you're like, who's this Sweet Tooth guy? And what is he? He is the guy. Like I think in Twisted Metal 1, I think Spectre was supposed to be kind of like the main protagonist or whatever, which I think is who Anthony Mackie is kind of supposed to be. I haven't seen the show, but it kind of seems like who he's supposed to be in that. But Sweet Tooth eventually becomes the main attraction. Like you go for Twisted Metal, you stay for Sweet Tooth. Like that, he is the man.
Okay, I didn't realize there was a story behind all that.
It's there is a story. There is a story. You can say it in air quotes. But it's like eh, I I didn't follow it much past like 2 and 3, but it was basically all like monkey's paw stuff because you would get into like the Twisted Metal arena because you wanted your basically your wish to come true, and then it would be fulfilled. But like, it was like I think one guy literally wanted to be able to fly, and he like jumps off a cliff and he falls and dies, and they're like, "Here's your 2 tickets, your 2 first-class tickets to Hawaii. You said you wanted to fly, you didn't say how." Like it's literally that.
That's pretty good.
So yeah,
I watched some gameplay just to like see what the game was about. And so I just kind of assumed it was like a Need for Speed or something like that, where it wasn't like I figured that there was like maybe a campaign, but I didn't realize there was like a story behind it.
it's like a straight up, it's a demolition derby of just nonsense vehicles. Like one of them, I don't know if Axel is in the show, but like Axel is literally just a guy that's just holding on to 2 giant tires, and he just goes around and like he's the body of the car, but it's just 2 giant tires. Like Axel was great. I loved Axel. Spectre was a good one. Who else was there? I don't know. It was a great game, but I imagine it was a good show too. Like everyone seems to have
It
liked it a lot.
Yeah, it was a pretty solid show. Like I enjoyed it a lot. Like more than I thought I was. I thought it was going to be some cheesy like whatever, but it was rock solid. And dude, freaking Will Arnett's voice as Sweet Tooth is just chef's kiss. He could have easily played both Batman and Joker. Because he does like an evil maniacal laugh, and it's freaking haunting.
Like I want to get Paramount Plus so bad, but like if you stop having Amazon Video, like does that actually take your bill down, or do you just like it's included? So
So that's yeah, Prime Video is just included in your Prime membership. But no, Twisted Metal's on
I wish there was a
Peacock.
way to take that away. I hate Paramount Plus, Peacock, like they're all ones that I want to get, but like we've got so much now. Freaking between what do we have? We've got Hulu, we have Disney Plus, we have Max, we have Netflix, we have probably another one I'm not thinking of. And I just I'm I'm at my wit's end with streaming because it has happened. We have done the thing where we have just made new cable to the point to where I don't know if you heard this. I don't even know if it was true or not. I have to believe it was an April Fool's that Disney is coming out with channels. They're like, if you just want to go to a channel where there's something constantly playing, like you don't get to choose, it's just playing. They're like, turn on a channel. And they're like, just so many people on TikTok roasting, like, bitch, you invented regular ass television. Is that what you're trying to tell us right now? Like, uh, it's just,
I know.
we've come full circle. It's all eating itself now where we're watching it happen, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
Dude, it is so funny to see where like television or televised content is going. And what I appreciate, like, so Netflix, we just started paying for our own Netflix. um but I appreciate that they like, because we got the one with ads, and the ads
Mhm.
aren't too bad. Like they're only like 30 seconds, and like you hardly notice them. But what I appreciate is that they won't throw ads on kids shows.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, that's
And
by the way, don't be too happy about that for too long because that's not far away. Like that,
no, it's
there
I
will
know it's not.
be. By the way,
But
Netflix needs to talk to Amazon because now that Amazon has commercials, like it actually makes watching Invincible a freaking chore. Because I'm like, Jesus Christ, like minute and a half of commercials. Why? Just give me the Omni Man I want. Let me see him crush somebody's face or something. Like, stop it. I hate it so much.
I know. Yeah, and oh man, this last season was awesome. I can't wait for season 3,
I have
which
not finished it
hopefully
yet, so
oh,
don't
so
no
good. So
spoilers.
good. Yeah. It's
uh
some good shit. Some real good shit.
yeah, we'll talk later because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who might not have seen it, but I want to talk about what I've seen so far. Uh let's see. Oh, have we gotten to what we want to what we oh yeah, we were talking about how you don't watch movies anymore. I can talk about how I don't watch movies either, and I see edits on TikTok of movies I want to see, which is the movie I want to see now and I will watch by the next time I'm on the show again, is The Green Book with Viggo Mortensen and Blade, whatever his name is, Mahershala Ali, I think.
Yeah,
Uh
that's been on my watch list forever.
dude, on TikTok, there are edits of that movie that have saw 3 today that had like 2 million likes on them. Like, what? How is this a thing? Like, how did the first of all, we're in the wrong game. We need to be making ridiculous TikTok edits and getting paid off of that. But I'm like, I've got to see this movie. Like, I've been seeing clips of that movie on TikTok forever. I'm like, this does look amazing. Like, I need to see it. But yeah, the Green Book. I highly recommend it, even though I never saw it.
Dude, those edits bother the hell out of me. Cause it's like you have to scroll so far freaking down before you get a serious answer about what movie it actually is. I found
Oh,
one today that I respected the hell out of. That because it was just like it was the white screen and they played a clip from this show. And like it was just kind of going on, super interesting part of the show, like whatever. And then it had like it kind of cut like have one of those like, oh, check this, like just had a little like something to kind of catch your attention.
mhm.
And so, then it like shifted and it's like, watch this now on Amazon Prime. And I'm like, freaking A, dude.
Thank
Like,
you.
yeah, and it gave the title of the show, it gave where you could watch it. I'm like, that is what me and Rose have been attempting to do, where it's like showing. I mean, obviously we've been stealing it from like the trailer, but just showing the trailer, giving a quick synopsis of the movie, and then telling you in the description where you can find it.
In fairness, I am part of the problem because, like, I remember when I think it was something came out. It wasn't Super Mario Brothers, but it was something that had Jack Black in it. And then they started. There was a clip of him and Kyle Gass on the Pick of Destiny, and people were in the comments like, "Who is this? What is this movie?" Da, da, da. I'm like, "Oh wow, this is Jack Black and Super Mario Brothers 2023 or whatever." Like, I was one of the guys that was just putting bullshit in there just to mess with people. Oh, this is Shallow Hal via circa 1990. Who cares?
Yeah, oh my gosh, you have no idea how much that shit bothers me because I'm just like, gosh, can I get a serious answer?
I'll tell you what though, it definitely if you are like you want to watch a movie but you're not sure if you're going to like it or not, there are those accounts that you come across on TikTok that have entire movies on them, like 3.5 minutes at a time. We're just like, all
Yeah.
right, just like here we go, flip, flip. Like I've spent lunch sitting there watching half a movie on 3 minute TikToks.
Yeah, I used to hate having a bunch of tabs open on my Chrome on my phone.
Mhm.
Now I have like 20 of them open because anytime I
Mhm.
see a clip, I'm like, all right, what movie is this? I'll find it in the comments and then I'll Google it. And then it's like, all right, you could watch it on this. So I'll be like, all right, cool. And then I'll set it aside. But it's always like, okay, I don't have an hour and a half to sit and watch this movie. So it's like it sits in my thing for so long before I
Your
like start
to-do
to knock
list.
it. Yeah. But I have like so much shit. I have like different animes in there. I have a bunch of different movies, a random ass show, like so much shit. No, it's just for shits and giggles. I'm gonna
Yeah,
look it up.
what's your last? I need to know your last 5 that you looked up.
I have 22 tabs open right now. Some of these are
Not safe for work. Oh well.
no. One of them's the. I was okay. That one's a chess one. I was trying to.
Doing a little chess cheating, are we?
No,
Like,
I was trying. No, I was trying to look up what the scholars mate because I felt like there was a game I played and I felt like I could have done it perfect, but I goofed it up and I was like, shit, what did I do wrong?
ah,
Okay, one of them's Amazing Stories, which is on Apple TV.
oh yeah, that's a good one.
Uh, Gattaca.
Gattaca, that's the one with Ethan Hawke.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good movie too.
Wind River.
Never heard of it.
Palmer.
Palmer, like Arnold.
No, Palmer is the Justin Timberlake. This one's also on Apple TV.
Oh,
A
yeah,
lot
no.
of these ended up being on Apple TV, and I'm like, well, shit.
Just buy
Let's
an
see.
Apple product and get,
I
a
know.
couple of months of Apple for free.
Escape Room 2, 8 Mile.
Hold on, wait. Escape Room 2. Was Escape Room 1 the one with Jodie Foster? Or was it Jodie Foster? Who was in that movie?
The first Escape Room.
Or no, I'm thinking of Panic Room. What is Escape Room?
So Escape Room.
Like, is this like low budget horror, or is this because there's no way that's
It was
not a
actually
horror movie,
bigger
right?
budget, or at least I felt like it was a bit bigger budget. Smaller,
Okay, let's see.
like not a super well known cast, but it was a movie that was released in theaters. Did you ever watch Daredevil?
The television program or the movie?
Television program.
Yes, I did, with Charlie
Okay,
Cox or whatever,
yeah. Do you remember the chick who played Karen?
the redhead.
Yeah,
Yes, she was. I know
Deborah.
her exclusively from True Blood.
Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
Deborah Ann
she
Wall.
was in this movie, and then a few other people were in this, but it's like these super good puzzle solvers. They go and do this escape room, but it's like a horror situation where it's like the escape rooms, if you're not quick enough, they'll kill you.
So wait, is it the next one called Escape Room 2 or is it Escape Room Tournament of Champions?
Tournament of Champions.
Ooh, are there any returning champions or did they all die in the first one? Oh, she's back. They're all back. They made it. Spoiler alert for Escape Room. They all everybody escapes.
But yeah, so that one's been on my list.
That's hilarious.
8 Mile.
8 Mile is a good one. I would like to revisit that one. Like that one, I remember when that came out and people were like, hold on, he acts too. What is going on here? Because that wasn't that Brittany Murphy's last movie, I think, maybe. It's very possible. I think that was her last movie that she was in.
Yeah. And then I have this, then I have this anime that a coworker told me was really good called Shimonetta.
Shimonetta.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it. My nephew just started watching Samurai Champloo. If you want another one.
Yeah. And then the last or the other one that I have is called Dummy.
Is that the ventriloquist dummy?
No, this one is Anna Kendrick. And I guess she like steals a one night stand sex doll.
Go on.
And then like I don't know, like that's all I have. Like, but it's It,
Oh, and it like I think I've heard of this. And is there some kind of like either she's crazy or it's magical or something, and they think it's like coming to life or something like that, or they can talk to it or something? Am
yeah,
I
something
getting
like
warm?
that. But yeah, the clips that the people were showing looked hilarious. So that's been on my list too.
Hilarious.
But yeah, so I have a bunch of shit like that on here. Everything else is like, can I transmit my HDMI wirelessly? I, or my Sea of Thieves account is logged in and all this other shit.
I tried so hard with Sea of Thieves. Like it went to Game Pass, and I was like, all right, people love this game. And I got through the like tutorial area, and I immediately uninstalled the whole game. It's like, this is not for me.
Dude, it's fun if you have like a good team. Like
Well, that's the other thing that people say too, is like you basically can't really do it alone. You can, but it's not really the thing. And if you're not doing it with people you know, you might as well just be doing it alone. Uh
yeah, exactly. Yeah, my brothers and I used to play a lot, and then one of my brothers decided that he was too cool to play that game,
uh,
and which sucks because I really enjoy that. I'm like, gosh, I just need to get like a different crew behind me. But it's hard to find people that like want to do the same shit that I do.
what do you
But
like to do, Caleb?
no, like like my brothers, they liked the combat, so they wanted to like hunt people down and like try it. But what's what was dumb is we weren't very good at combat. And so we'd get our freaking ass handed to us, and then they wanted to go
Uh,
hunt, like basically get revenge on these people, and then they'd freaking sink us with no problem. And I'm like, God, like, dude, why? And then, so me, I like the treasure hunting aspect. Like, I like doing the puzzles and stuff. So that's the aspect of it that I like to do.
yeah.
But they didn't like it. And then one of my brothers, the one that decided that he didn't like it anymore, he's like, it's freaking boring. And I'm like, yeah, but like we only played like once a week. And I'm like, that was our time to like get together and just talk. And I'm like, you can't really sit there and talk when we're playing like other games because we're trying to like shoot each other down. But we just started playing Halo 3 together. And
Really?
that, yeah. So if it's on Game Pass. If you get the Halo Chief or Halo Master Chief
Master Chief.
Edition,
Hmm.
yeah, you can play the Halo 3, and that was our shit when we were younger. And so we've been playing that, and it's been an absolute blast.
I'm trying to get my nephew to play the original Halo, and I can't find my copy of it anywhere.
They
Which I
have the
might
OG.
well, here's the thing. Sorry nephews, if you ever hear this. I have a secret Xbox in here, and that's the one that has Game Pass on it.
Oh,
There is a completely other Xbox that's not. Yeah, I have the Series X in here, and they have the Xbox One out there. And by the way, I don't feel bad about it because they have the option of a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One, and they pick the PlayStation every time. So I'm like, yeah, I don't feel bad about this decision. So yeah. By the way, I wouldn't mind buying that game again, like the 10-year anniversary edition, because that was the first version of it that I ever played. And actually, you know what's crazy? Sorry, I know this is movie time. We'll talk about Deadpool and Wolverine in just a minute. Uh, the what was it? The first Halo game I ever played was what the hell was the prequel called? Reach. The first one I ever played was Halo Reach, and that was crazy to play that game first, because I was like, well, first of all, where's Master Chief in all of this? And then, spoiler alert for a freaking 10-plus-year-old game, but like the end, when you're like, you get all like hooked in with this dude and you're like, all right, this is my boy Blue, and you just end with him going, just shooting everyone, and he just gets left by himself so everyone else can make it away. I'm like, why are you making me sad, Halo game? Like, don't do this. And then the actual ending is literally like the moments of the first OG game, whatever, starting. And it's like, it was, I don't know if anyone's ever done a prequel better than Halo Reach into Halo. Like, that was so good.
Oh man. I I've been debating going through the campaign of Halo, and I kind of want to do a chronological playthrough.
Dude, Reach is a great game. Halo, all of them are good. Well, I mean, I tapped out at 4. I started to play 4 and was like, that's enough. Actually, I think I came back in at 5 and was like, yeah, I was right. That's still enough. And then this new one, Infinite or whatever, came out, and apparently it's returned to form, but I can't. I downloaded it and I started to like boot it up, and I was like, nah, I can't do it. Like this, I think I'm done with Halo, and that's good. That's fine. I still love Halo, though. And I didn't get I didn't get anything ruined for me by watching the show. So
Well, that's good. Yeah, I've loved going back to it because it just fills me with so much nostalgia. And now I don't have the issue of my brother's freaking screen looking. Like I had of my brothers that was just completely wasting me, like over and over and over again. And I yelled at him over the the chat, and I was like, "Hey, quit screen looking, you asshole!" And he's like I'm not. And then he stopped, and he was like, "What?"
You're a cheater. You're a screen sneak. I know it.
It was so funny to catch him off guard like that because he's like, "I'm not screen." Wait a
Wait a
minute.
minute. I feel like we're like trying to do anything but talk about this movie that we're supposed to be talking about. Like,
It does kind of feel like that, huh?
if you don't mind, I would like to just at least say Deadpool and Wolverine. I have never been so excited for a Marvel movie in the past 2 years. So that, I mean, it's this movie, it almost can't lose. Like, the last time I was on here, I had some disparaging words for Mr. Kevin Feige, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry for doubting you, sir. I shouldn't have said the things I said. I apologize. I take them all back. You clearly know what you're doing, and you have aligned yourself with Ryan Reynolds, and I think that's a good decision. I actually might rewatch Loki season 1 and 2 just to prime myself for watching this movie. And that is what I suggest everyone does. If you have not watched Loki season 1 and 2, like, you definitely watch Deadpool 1 and 2. But yeah, watch that movie or watch that show, because I feel like that's gonna not just be like something happening in the background. Like, I feel like the TVA is gonna play heavy in this movie.
Yeah, I definitely. And season 1 and 2, they need to be watched back to back.
Yeah.
Like, that is the prime viewing experience for those.
And
Like,
there's
that show was meant to be a movie, like
it
a 6-hour-long movie.
yeah, like, really, like, it's so funny because the first and second season, they're like, they're weirdly, I don't know if different tones is the right way to describe it, but like, they are, I feel like, two separate movies, but like two movies that are in the same trilogy, or I guess the duology. I don't know, what would you call it, two? Uh but but yeah, it's good. I don't think there's any filler in those shows for the most part. A little bit, but not I don't know, not so much that you're like, all right, get to the story already. Like, there's always something happening. Am I
Yeah.
selling people on Loki right now? If you haven't watched it, you probably never will. But
No, the only thing that I would consider the filler for Loki is any sort of establishing shot, which you could get rid of if you were just to clump it all together.
Yeah, but I would say that like that show was like also nice to look at. Like there were not like even in those establishing shots, like it wasn't just like you need to see this tree. Anyway, now you know he's outside. Like the shots were all beautiful. Like it was a very good looking show. Like there was nothing was wasted on it, I don't think.
Yeah,
Why
I'll
can't we be
definitely agree
talking
with you
about
there.
Loki? Let's talk about Loki season 1 and 2 instead. Rebel Moon 2, go directly to hell. We're talking about Loki now.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, that's not what the people came to listen to. They came to listen to us suffer through this breakdown. So, without further ado, let's say we get on into it.
Fine.
Need motivation? Angry Dad Podcast. Trying to jumpstart your life? Angry Dad Podcast. You want help getting off the couch? Angry Dad Podcast. You need a verbal kick in the ass? Angry Dad Podcast. You want to hear from somebody who's been through it all? Angry Dad Podcast. I am here for you. You can find me on all podcast platforms.
Ben is so great. By the way, before anything else happens, everywhere you can find me, I'm mainly on Instagram at Untrained iPod. Okay, listen to me. Before we get into this movie, please, I'm begging you, just send me all your recommendations for good sci-fi movies. Like, even if you think I've seen them before, like, I need something to cleanse the palate of the thing that I just saw because it was so good or so bad. Who knows? Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll be sure to post all of those in the description for any of you that have suggestions. But I wouldn't mind receiving those as well.
Yeah, please. I mean, off the wall, it can be an indie thing. It can be like a YouTube, like 10-minute movie that you're like, this is a great short film. Anything, anything, anything.
Dude, I've had a bit like watching Bad Batch. I've kind of had a Star Wars gap in my life, and I cannot wait for the Acolyte.
Yeah, I'm like, I feel like Disney is like, I don't know how we feel about the Acolyte. Like we talked about it for a second and now we're like, never mind. So I don't know. Like it seemed like
I
they were making a big deal and then
I
kind of
dig it. And Trinity is a Jedi, so that's canon now.
I mean, to be honest with you, since we're doing Loki rewatches, I wouldn't mind doing some Mando rewatches as well.
I'd be down for that. All right. Well, if you guys are new to our breakdown system, we have split movies into 8 different categories that we individually score to come to a final All Bros and Untrained Eye letter grade. The 8 categories that we are going to be scoring are story, writing, acting, character development, effects, music, costumes, and then we are going to be giving it our own personal score at the very end. All of those numbers are going to get magically added up and spit through our algorithm and give us a letter grade to compare this movie to others of a similar score. So, with that, if you have not seen Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver, we are going to be spoiling the entire freaking movie for you. So I'll
You
be
can't
posting
see
that
it. He's
now.
putting up air quotes. He said spoiling, but there's no such a thing. Uh,
Yeah. Um, Unfortunately, I did not have the wherewithal to create a reading with Caleb little thing. So this will be technically our reading with Rose segment.
listen, I'll pull up the Wikipedia and I'll be reading with DJ if you want.
Yeah. But no, I got it up. So yeah, you have been properly warned. Spoiler warning now. But honestly, you're probably fine. So with that, get into this synopsis. Korra and the surviving warriors return to Velt, believing that Korra had successfully killed Admiral Noble and prevented the forthcoming assault on the planet to claim its food supplies. But Eris, a Motherworld soldier working as a double agent for the village people, informs them that Noble is alive and the dreadnought ship will arrive in 5 days. Titus commits to training the entire village to fight, harvesting the entire grain supply in 3 days so the flour can be used as leverage to prevent the Motherworld forces from simply bombing the village from orbit. Cora and Gunnar become lovers, and she admits that Regent Belisarius compelled her involvement in the assassination of the Motherworld's king, queen, and young princess Issa, with Cora herself shooting the princess. Belisarius had then attempted to frame her for the coup, but she had instead fled to Velt in a Motherworld shuttle to hide from the law. Titus, Nemesis, Tarek, Milius, and Cora train the villagers in combat, preparing a plan involving digging trenches and tunnels in the fields, laying explosives, and preparing Cora's shuttle. The group also reveal their pasts to each other, but Cora declines to share her involvement in Issa's death. When Noble arrives with the dreadnought, his forces scan the village, identifying where the women and children are hiding, protected by Nemesis and Eris, and send forces to capture them to force Cora out. Cora attempts to surrender to him once Noble promises to spare the village, but Gunnar triggers the ambush anyway, and Titus and Tarek lead the villages in successfully repelling the first wave, though Nemesis is killed in defending the women and children. The heavily armored and mechanized second wave of Motherworld troops pushes the defenders back, destroying much of the village, but Cora and Gunnar use the shuttle and stolen uniforms to infiltrate the dreadnought, laying explosives on the engine. Jimmy arrives to help the village defenders push back the assault, and the explosives bring down the dreadnought. In the process, Gunnar kills Noble, but later dies from his injuries. Devra Bloodaxe and her rebel forces arrive in ships to destroy the remaining Motherworld troops, leading to victory. In the aftermath, the village mourns the dead, and Cora admits her past, which Titus reveals he already knew. He also reveals that Issa is secretly alive and in hiding, and the assembled group declare their intentions to find her and restore the royal lineage to the throne in order to dispose Belisarius.
Is it over yet? Is there any more to say? Did you just describe the first hour of this in slow motion like the entire movie was? I don't know where this would fit in, but I have to get this off of me right now. The fact that this movie spent the first 53 minutes doing slow motion made me want to die. Like, I thought by the time that they were like, when Jiminy showed up, and I finally thought this movie was going to start getting cool. It didn't, by the way. I swear to God, Caleb, I was like, wow, we are almost at the end. We are clearly about to be at like the end of this movie right now, because it is all gone.
Even close.
Legitimately halfway through, like a little less than halfway through. Like, get out of here.
Dude, I did the exact same thing. I was like, wow, this one's pretty quick paced for all the slow-mo that they're throwing. And then I shook my mouse and I was like, God damn it.
Just such a like, how about this? How about the people who farm for a living are like, I don't know what they were doing in the weeks that Dum Dum was out gathering the idiot brigade to come and fight for them. But apparently they were all just chilling, waiting to have a feast, by the way, that no one would eat. Because for everyone who hasn't seen this movie, they all 5 of the Bad Batch return, and they're like, we're coming here to fight for you, man. And they're like, thanks so much. We made this whole big spread for you, and it's all this food, and it looks delicious. And all of the people that live here didn't want to come because they were too embarrassed that they had to ask for help. So they start to say like, no, it's cool, blah, blah, blah. The end result is nobody eats the food. Like, they just all go off into do their own thing. And there's just an empty longhouse with food in it that they all prepared for no one. They
Yep.
all wake up the next day, and sorry, I have so much to say. Caleb, what did you think? Who ate that food?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. No one ate that food. And dude, after our last discussion, and I came to the realization that this was just a live action Bug's Life. Like that's how I was viewing this movie. I was like, okay, this is the second half of Bug's Life after they done all the preparation to fight the grasshoppers. Like, but in this sense, the grasshoppers are this freaking dreadnought ship that could just blow them to smithereens, like in a moment's notice, too.
I love too, like how flippant they all were when they were like, "All right, we need to do everything. We need to get the grain pulled and turned into flour, and we need to get everything set up in 5 days." And everyone there was like, "Ah, uh like really, like, dude, okay, sorry that the five of us couldn't do all the work for you idiots, but yeah, you're gonna have to freaking pull your weight around here." And then you have the girl who's supposed to be like the de facto leader there, or whatever she was, that was like, while everyone was working, I made you these banners. Here's one for you. You're the mother of lightning. Here's another one for you. You're the lion of courage. Here's one for you. You're the scarecrow of knowledge. Like, what? Like, why weren't you helping, lady? Like, no one cares about your stupid flags. Like, what?
Yeah, that it's like this kind of feels like an around the clock operation, and it seems like you're wasting time making cute banners.
Because they're like 5 days won't be enough to do everything. Because I just thought they were harvesting wheat. By the way, you might think that we're talking too much about the farming aspect of this. This was a big portion of the movie. There
It was
was
a huge portion of the movie.
like I can't believe they're still doing it a portion of the movie. Because they're like, by the way, they made it seem like they're like, this all took 3 days, but they showed the equivalent of like a 6-hour workday. And they're like, yep, we put the sacks over our shoulders and we put it over here and we ground up the thing and we stacked it up. And like, there was no semblance of like how much time had actually passed. Like, it didn't seem like it was 3 days. It just seemed like one kind of long work day. And then they're like, all right, it's time to build the time. By the way, if you've ever dug with a shovel anything in your entire life, this movie goes from like science fiction to like, we're just making up anything right now. We just say anything we want. Because they dig foxholes, the likes of which any army would love to have. Uh, and they do it
Dude,
in
no joke. No
they do it in like
joke.
a day. A day they do it. Impossible, says me, who's dug thousands of yards of dirt in my life. Like, no, it just wouldn't be.
Dude, and like not even that. The freaking that they're harvesting basically a mountain's worth of like it seemed like they traveled on the whatever those freaking horses on horseback for like a couple days to get to the village. And then they're just like, "Oh yeah, we need to harvest all of this in 3 days." Like, no, sir.
So by the way, me and Beth both were like, yeah, they should have said, they just say 14 days or 10 days or something. Because then that would have been enough time to do the farming, get the foxholes dug, and do the training. The training. Hey, here's some straw men. Go ahead and hit them with a stick. All right, you're ready to go. Get out there and fight like hell.
Yeah, they were teaching them to fight with freaking farming equipment, and then they ended up just like, "Oh yeah, and we have this whole freaking barn full of military weapons that we can use, I guess."
I guess if you wanted to, or we could use these pitchforks and machetes. Uh,
Dude, the jumping around was ridiculous in this movie. It was freaking crazy.
well, and we're talking about the story right now. Like, this movie really assumed the grandeur that it thought the first movie, the grandeur and the reverence that it thought the first movie was going to just chokehold everyone with, because it just like launches into it media res, like we are just supposed to understand what's going on. And I'm like, first of all, you had a man talking at the beginning. I didn't pay attention to a word he said. And my whatever version of ADD I have made me forget the words he said as soon as he said them anyway. So guess what? I'm sorry, Star Wars got it right. Put some words up there so I can read it 10 times like I normally do. And I'm like, and then old boy, they're just like, oh yeah, he needs to be back to life. So boom, back to life. We put some red and green juice in him, or sorry, red and blue juice in General whatever. I called him General Vader because he was clearly that was clearly supposed to be their Darth Vader. Spoiler alert, my number one actor in this whole thing, because that dude stayed being happy that he had a job between Rebels Moon 1 and 2. But that was nonsense. Like they're just like, he's alive because it's easier for him to be alive than be dead. And there was just, so I heard this movie described as an extended trailer for this movie. And I don't know that I can say it any better than that. Like this movie is just a big trailer for this movie.
Yeah.
Because it looks beautiful. Like that was one thing I kept going back to, is like I am distracted by how good this movie is. And the distraction is like, I can't believe how good it is as compared to how bad this story is, how bad this acting is. Like everything, if you were watching this movie on mute, I swear I said this about the first one. If you were watching this movie on mute, you would think it was as great as it thinks it is.
You're exactly correct.
It's a shame. This whole movie was a shame.
What sucks is it's like they forgot to follow any sort of structure. Like that was, I think, my big issue with the story was that the structure was so off, because it's like with Cora, she had this moment with
Gunner.
shit. Yeah, with Gunner, where they're laying together and she basically tells him her entire backstory, how she was the one that basically killed the princess, and like went through that whole backstory. But then later on, when she's with the team and they're all sharing their backstories, and she's like, I'm not telling, and then like goes and like distracts from it. It's like, we already know. Like there's no real like, okay, fine. Like I don't need to hear your story again.
Yeah,
Like
it was like it was very strange because I don't like when that happens, when they're like, no, it's like, hey, movie, I know you're a movie, like you can just, but then they even undercut that when she was like, this is who I am, and he's the what's his face, the disgraced general, what was his name,
Titus.
yes, he was like, I know who you are and what you did, and I know everything. Like, okay, like what are we doing here, movie? Like, what is the point of any of this? Like, why not just start with we know everything and we're here anyway? Like
Dude, this is what like this is
Jimmy?
how I
Can we talk
personally would
about
have
Jimmy?
restructured. Yeah, I would have this is how I would have restructured Cora's whole deal. I would have not had that moment with Gunner. I would have had her still avoid the conversation with the group, but then I would have had Titus come to her afterward and then let them have a little discussion and have him reveal that he knew the story, and that it might be freeing or whatever for her to get it off her chest. And then she presents her history to the group separately.
Yeah, like have him tell like he was there and he saw like he's telling the story, and she was realizing like, oh my God, this is what happened whenever I killed the girl, which clearly she didn't. Like it doesn't show her killing the girl. And then whenever the girl falls, like she dies in a way that no one else dies by like little soul sparkles coming out of her or whatever. And then spoiler alert for the end of this dumbass movie, they were like, the princess lives. It's like, yeah, no shit. We kind of saw that whenever she in quotes died. Like, what is this movie? What is it?
Yeah. Dude, and what in the actual hell was up with the freaking senator? Like, that whole assassination was such bullshit.
And
'Cause,
weird.
like,
It was
I
like
know. Freaking, like, freaking Belisarius is sitting there. He, like, kills the queen and queen very directly, has Cora finish the princess, and then he's like, "What did you do?" with all of these witnesses around him. I'm like,
yeah, I'm
"Yo,
like, was
what?"
this are we supposed to think this was all like coordinated by him? Like he was going to orchestrate this, and then since everyone was on his side, he was, but then that still doesn't make sense because why is he yelling, "What did you do?" Like it was very, you know what it seemed like? I said this about the first movie. Like we now know why everyone speaks with a British accent in Star Wars because there's a king and a queen out there somewhere. Like this movie, it really thought that it could like switch between what's the word I'm looking for? Like it just went it thought it could like switch themes to be like I'm science fiction but also I'm like high royalty drama, and like all of a sudden we were going to be in the middle of this royal drama and we'd be all sucked in cuz I guess people were watching The Crown or something at the time. I don't know. But it was just not that. It was just a very strange, it was very strange. There's people wearing very strange, like Illuminati masks. They were just
I know.
like
The
what? Who were
freaking
all those people? Like
the orchestra was so over the top, and then
it
they
was
they
very.
just started playing super, like, intense music while this assassination is going. I'm like, "Dude, like, can
That
you not?"
if there was anything that was funny about this movie, it was literally that. Like the fact that they were like they had a internal soundtrack like to these people getting murdered was insane. Like it I
Dude,
I
like,
just
it made the way that I feel like we're supposed to feel about Belisarius is that he is some, like, great general that's able to manipulate any situation for his own purposes, and, like, I think that's what they're going for,
yeah.
but he just comes off as super unhinged. Because when he's, like, yelling at Cora, like, "What did you do?" and, like, multiple times, I'm like, the way
Yeah.
that I would have handled that I would have had him, like, kinda stand there, like, watching what Cora just pulled off with a, like, kind of a smirk on his face, and then have him call in some guards to, like, arrest her.
Yeah,
But
or
it is also he didn't have any weapons. She
you don't
coulda
have to.
just freaking laid all of these fools out.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, I mean, listen, rather than screaming, like he could have still said that, but just give him the like. All of a sudden, he goes from like, "Yay, we did it," to like he gets that weird look on his face where you're like, "Oh no, is this about to happen?" He's like, "What have you done?" And that's it. There you go. One ominous "What have you done?" And then you're like, "Oh, is this about to happen?" And then sees her, and there you go. She's the assassin. End of scene. We don't dissect it, I'm sure, as much as we're doing right now.
No,
Uh,
that's absolutely how it should have been structured. I almost would have preferred, like, just to kind of fit that tone, like, I think he should have gone up to her and, like, given her a hug, but then use that to take her weapon from her,
something.
and then he calls the guards in to take her away, and then he's, like, explaining to the senators, like, what just happened, and then Cora's just kind of in shock, and then once she's out of the space, doors close, and then she pulls the guards, kills them, and freaking bounces.
Well, this was
That's
the
how it
thing.
should have
Like,
been structured, not like whatever the hell they did. Because he seemed unhinged, and I'm like, "Dude, did she like, is this all in her head? Like like, what happened?"
well, what's crazy is like the first movie, she seemed kind of badass, but whatever little bit of badassness she had in that first movie was gone from her. It was gone from all of them. Like none of them, the group they assembled, like none of them seemed especially good. Like they just seemed like cooler looking farmhands. You know what I mean? And her even in that moment, whenever they were doing the assassinating, like we've been led to believe that she can do some amazing things with guns and feet and fists, and she did exactly none of those things to try and didn't even speak on her own behalf to be like, it wasn't me. Like that's not even who that character is. Like they did not establish her as someone who's like, well, I guess they said I did it, so I'll just take my lumps. Like, no, that's not it at all. So I don't know. And I cannot go any further without talking about my poor sweet Jimmy. I love that of all the people in this movie, they named the robot Jimmy. But that I seem to remember from the trailer for this movie that Jimmy and the gang were going to be a much bigger part of this, and
Yup.
there was no gang. There was no gang. And Jimmy just showed up to do this. Hey, what's up, man? Anyway, I'm here to get this here paycheck. My name is Anthony Hopkins, and it's been good to see you. I'll see you next time in Rebel Moon Part 3. I can't believe we're still doing it. Bye. Cape,
Oh my
fling,
gosh.
and disappear. Like,
Dude,
nothing.
like, don't get me wrong. They did some cool shit with Jimmy, but they nuked his look. Something awful. Like
What cool did they do with Jimmy? Name 2 cool things they did with Jimmy.
Well, I liked it, like, when he was taking out all the, like, the tanks and stuff, like, when he ripped the door off, jumped down, took a grenade, just kinda dropped it and was like, and then jumped out. Like,
Yeah,
I thought that shit was cool.
I felt you're not wrong. But to be honest, that whole scene, that whole fight scene of them when they finally the dreadnought finally showed up was so boring that I was like, this whole movie was so boring. And the fact that the like one of the biggest fight scenes in it was also very boring. Like I was legitimately falling asleep during it. I just wanted more for him. Like I guess I wanted him to see him do Jimmy do like cool fighting stuff, but like he clearly was like in the first movie, he seemed like the character that I don't know if Zack Snyder wrote this movie or not, but it seems like the character that they thought the most about. Like I don't know if it was just Anthony Hopkins' delivery or if it was the writing for him, but it seemed like there was something there that we were just waiting to see what that was. And he was going to be like, maybe not the main focus of like what was going to go down, but like he was going to be a very integral part of it. And he was not, not at all.
Yeah. He was just more extra muscle. That's all he ended up being. Was just extra muscle.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Dude,
know what else.
the story structure here was just so off. And like the backstories that we got for these additional characters, like I could care less about.
They were literally useless. They had meant nothing to the story. That I felt nothing about them before. I literally felt less about them after because they had those stories and then we're just like, they don't really exist in the story anymore. So it's like, all right.
Dude, and what sucked is they tried to give a big emotional death to someone that we barely saw.
The spider lady or
Yeah,
whatever her name
freaking
was.
Nemesis. We barely saw Nemesis, and then she and she got this big emotional death, and it wasn't emotional at all because I didn't have any sort of connection with her. Like, I just knew that she was like would kind of weirdly stare at this child or had this weird connection with this child, and then she dies. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then it wasn't touched upon like at all. Like it was almost completely ignored.
They made a very big, the movie made a very big deal about it, but the characters were like, anyway, we still got fights to fight, and we're gonna much like that dinner when we got home, we're gonna forget all about you. And they did.
Yeah, it was rough, dude. I'm like, dude, you could There are so many other characters that I felt a little bit more attached to that you could have pulled that off with. Not her.
But
Not her.
so you just made me realize something. With her, she was the only one, like, out of all the reasons why, like, Cora went and picked up all these people from wherever she got them from, she was the only one that really got to, like, showcase why she was there in that death, because she was, like, doing all her cool, like, it wasn't even that cool, but her, like, weird Jedi sword moves or whatever, and you got to actually see that. Tarzan guy, whatever his name was, the guy that had long hair and he was a slave or something and they stole him away. That dude, like, what did he do? He didn't do anything. He didn't jump on a flying dragon. He didn't do anything extra, like, any like feats of strength or anything. Titus, what did he really do that was like actually being a general, and like, other than saying like, we need to dig these foxholes and I got to train these people? Like, bitch, you're not a general to do that. You're just any guy that's like, hey, we need to like survive this. Like, you're not showcasing the fact that you are a general. Like,
Well,
no one. Go ahead.
I mean, I gotta like him using the wheat and the flour as
Yeah,
like a shield
I'll give
was
you
a
that.
pretty smart move.
Yeah, I will give you that. I would say that. Yeah, I will give you that. I don't think that that's like, uh it's not like high level general activities, but I do think that that is I'll give you that.
Um, dude, I gotta say too, space travel in this series is so lame.
It's super lame. It's super lame.
At
It's
least
like
at
not
least they
even really
got away
talking
from
about.
the giant space vagina.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take that back. At least it gives you something to look at. Uh, and just to prove the point that it sucked in this one, like, I don't need I you said that, I can't think of one time I saw a ship moving in space. Not even once. So there you go. I
Yeah,
remember the like, by the way, the dreadnought, when the dreadnought came, when it first was coming, it didn't even it was supposed to look ominous, like coming through the clouds. It didn't really. Like, they almost figured out the right shot to show, because they showed all of those ships or whatever coming out of the dreadnought, and coming towards them, but it all was like, it all stayed tight on those ships, and it didn't really show like it showed the ships flying towards them, but it didn't really show the farm. But then right at the end, when the ships were almost there, is the shot I think they should have had from the very beginning. Was it was like it was like them standing around, the camera was kind of behind them, and you could see the dreadnought way back there, and then you could see the ships that were like almost on them. Like, that's the shot. Like, that's the whole thing to make it seem ominous from the very beginning, is like, you see this giant, bigger than life ship come through the clouds, and you're like, oh Jesus, we're like literally farm people here going against the galactic empire, and how are we going to do this? And they had that shot for a split second, and then it was gone, and I'm like, why? Just
yeah, just sit on that for a minute because that was so cool.
yeah.
Such a good shot. Like that's like Zack Snyder's good at setting up like really good looking shots.
Yes.
But it's either he sits on it too long or he does like some bullshit slow-mo with it and it's too much. It turns into too much pretty quick. There's a fine line that he's walking and he keeps stepping over it each time.
I gotta look right now and see, because do you know right offhand, like, who wrote? Did he write this movie as well?
I want to say that he did. The script. Oh yeah, he was. It was him, a Kurt Johnstad, and a Shay Hanton did the screenplay, and he wrote the story.
Whew, man, that writing score is gonna be rough there, Zach. Uh,
Yeah, I thought the first one wasn't great. This one was worse.
yeah, it was. I don't know when to talk about this, but like this movie was so bad that it made me, because I had no interest in listening to it, but it actually made me go back and listen to him talking to Joe Rogan a couple weeks back. And he did talk a little bit. What's funny is I now understand why Zack Snyder can make kind of whatever movie he wants to make, because he's a very charismatic dude. Like, I liked him a lot. Like, I even liked how he was talking about movies until he started talking about Rebel Moon. And then I was like, the way he was talking about it, I'm like, if I just heard him talking, I would be stoked for this movie. I'd be like, this movie is going to be amazing. It is not the movie he was talking about. Like, the movie he was talking about, we did not get to see. And this son of a bitch had the nerve. This is what I was going to wait to tell everybody for, in case you also didn't listen to this and maybe didn't know. But I think he didn't have an exact date, but like now that number 2 has come out, there is a Rebel Moon and Rebel Moon 2 rated R cut that are also supposed to be dropping on the same day,
Oh
that
my
are like
hell.
the director's cut or whatever. And he's like, this is my true vision, and this is the thing, and the battle sequences, and da da da. And I'm like yelling at my radio, F you. Like, I am not watching that. I'm just not going to do it. Like, if someone else wants to watch a longer rated R version of these movies, have at it. I'll listen to your podcast. Go.
Okay. That was my biggest complaint with the first one, was I'm like, it feels like this could have been way more violent. And and now that we're getting an R cut, I'm kind of here for it.
But here's the thing. Like, when you hear him talk about like his pedigree when it comes to things like 300 or The Watchmen, or even the movie I don't like that much, but it's still pretty good to look at, Sucker Punch. He's done others obviously, but like,
I really like that movie.
okay, Sucker Punch hits a weird place for me, kind of like Poor Things did, because I'm like, we're only seeing this because she is actively being raped. So this is a weird thing to enjoy, seeing these cool battles.
It totally is, dude.
It's so, I mean, listen, kudos to him for making that movie. It looked amazing, like most of his movies do. And like Watchmen, that is one of my favorite movies. Like, I love that movie. And the fact that the guy that made Watchmen also made the Rebel Moon movies is kind of baffling to me. Like, when it comes to adapting things, I think he is amazing, because clearly, like, look at 300, look at Watchmen. Sucker Punch, I think, was an adaptation as well. Like, I actually would have liked to see him. I would, what I would have rather seen, because I know he wanted to do a Star Wars movie. I would have rather have seen him do an adaptation of the original trilogy, or even the prequel trilogy. Like, I would much rather have seen that, because he seems to do adaptations like a great deal of justice. But when it comes to something off the dome, my guy, please, please do something else.
Yeah. Man. Dude, the story is I'm fairly low on that. Not like ridiculously low, because I mean the story, the
Talk me
parts
up,
were
because I'm
there.
at a
The parts
59. Okay,
what?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm at a 59 for
A
the story. So
59?
talk
Damn,
me
dude.
up. Talk me up.
Okay,
I'll
listen,
be
like the
talked
way
up.
that I viewed this movie was like I viewed the last half of Bug's Life. And the pieces were there. I don't think they were in the right order, and I don't think that they
They were
killed off
executed
the
well.
right character. I think they killed off the wrong character. They needed to kill off someone that we had a little bit more of a connection to.
They should have killed Gunner's dumbass. Like, I love how Gunner has become like
Well, he did die, but
did he?
yeah, Gunner died at the end.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, I like it. You know what? 60. Uh, because Gunner, by the way, that's how much I remember about this movie, is I forgot that I still can't even picture him dying. He I hated him all the way through because this, unless I'm confused, he was the guy that like sold out the village in the first movie, right? Like, isn't he the reason why the original leader got shot? Because he was like, I have an idea.
Yeah,
We have this
he
extra
sure
grain.
was. He
Yeah,
sure
like
was.
that dude sucks. Like, there's no two ways about it. Like, he sucks. And our hero is like in love with the guy that sucks. Like, he definitely should have died way sooner than he did. I'm glad he died. I will say that is going to bring my score up.
Yeah. Talking about him a little bit, um, and was just making me think of the relationship that him and Cora had and how they kind of became lovers. That felt like it came out of left field.
It was super awkward. It was
It
very awkward.
it felt forced.
Very much. Yeah, it felt as forced, hilariously enough, another Star Wars connection, as Rose and what's his face
And
from
Finn.
Finn,
Yep.
wherever they were kissing, and you're like, wait, what? When did those two start liking each other? What's happening? Uh
Yeah. So that actually brings me down a bit because that was something that really bothered me. But I'll say this: Gunnar was a little bit more likable in this than he was in the first.
He was, but no, and he was, and that's what made me go like, we were watching the movie, and I'm like, wait, isn't this the dude that sold them all out? And I'm like, why are they trying to portray him like he's something that he like, even the people there, whenever he was coming back, like no one seemed to even hold a little bit of a grudge against this dude. Like, really? Not one person was so into their old leader that they would hold just a tiny smidgen of a grudge against this guy. That seems crazy.
Yeah. I'm personally sitting at like a 67 with the story. It was not good. The structure was so off. The tone was just, I mean, it was a consistent tone, but it felt all over the place because of just how they structured everything. Like, we got such weird, it's just the order of operations. Like, I feel like the individual parts are there for a decent overall story. It's just the structure. That's my biggest problem with it, is the structure.
I don't disagree with you. I think maybe I do, only because like I can't, now that I've heard the critique, I can't get it out of my head of this is just an extended trailer for this movie. Like, it almost seems like there were no complete sentences. You know what I mean? Like,
It
and this
very
might
much
be
felt like that. I had to rewind a bunch just to make sure I caught shit. I was like,
yeah.
"Wait, did I hear that right?"
And like maybe I'm sure that bleeds into writing as well, but like I feel like that's like an editing, like that is a story choice to just be like, this is how we're going to tell our stories, is like these weird choppy, like not like not meaningless, but like, because the things they were saying weren't meaningless, but like nothing felt meaningful at the same time.
Yeah.
Like
It's
everything
like
was
they
hollow.
were saying words, there was just no weight to them.
Yes, everything was hollow. Every single word was hollow, it seemed. So I can't match you, but I'll go 66 just for the sake of it's close to the bad number.
Yeah. Alright, next up, we got writing, which I've gotta say is a little bit below this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm at a 66 with this. I The same issues I had with the story, I had with the writing. The dialogue felt very choppy, like you said, very hollow, and there was nothing of weight. I feel like in a movie like this, you need some badass lines, and
Yes.
there wasn't anything. It was just all like
Or at
just
least memorable. Like
yeah,
something that you would go like, I don't know, like why did I have a bad feeling about this become like one of the de facto lines from Star Wars? Like it's I don't know. This movie is baffling to me. I can't, because again, what's crazy, the hollowness, the emptiness to all of the words that they're saying don't make sense, because I still believe if you muted this movie and watched it, you would think some crazy cool stuff was happening. Like, just because of what you're seeing and because of how they look, like, you're like, oh, this is crazy, man. I can't wait till I can finally hear this movie.
Yeah, dude, you want to talk about some missed opportunity? The freaking discount Conan the Barbarian when he
Yeah.
was talking, like, this is a line that I felt like was supposed to have a ton of weight to it, but had none whatsoever. Was when he was just like, the thing about like fighting for something, it kind of makes me not want to die. And I'm like, dude, that was such an oddly phrased
He
delivery.
definitely, something about him wearing a shirt the whole time. I was like, why do you seem like such a bro right now? And not a good, like, I want to hang out with you, bro. Like, you're just like a dude, bro. That I just am like, yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's like, now you're wearing a shirt? Like, you
Like,
didn't wear one the entirety of the first film.
yeah, that was your whole thing. You were going to be strong guy who, when they brought a dragon because they thought it was going to scare away the locals, you were going to jump on its back and ride it into the freaking nuclear reactor. And no, none of that.
Yeah,
I think I might have something to live for. Meh.
yeah, such an awkwardly phrased line. So, yeah, every issue, and like I said, it's worse. 65 feels harsh, but 66 does not.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 60 because I again, like, things like we just talked about, the opening dialogue, or whatever you want to call it, the opening, instead of the opening crawl, we get the opening Anthony Hopkins, or I guess Jimmy, giving like a narration of what happened. That was, again, super forgettable. Like, just the whole Jimmy thing. Like, I'm very bitter about Jimmy's whole, even being in this movie. Like, that is a character that didn't even need to be there. He didn't even need to be there. Like, I'm happy Anthony Hopkins got paid off of this. Somebody should have got paid for doing nothing. And I'm glad it was him. But damn it, son. Like, pay a nobody to be the voice and have that thing do something cool.
You want to know something that I have a feeling they're going to do?
Did you say
You know,
spin off?
no, not a spinoff. Um, I have a feeling that it's going to come out that the reason Jimmy has this connection to that rando villager is because that she is basically the reincarnated princess or some random bullshit like that.
That seems very right. That seems spookily right.
Dude, I was while you were talking, I was sitting here thinking, I'm like, what's like the dumbest thing that I could think of for Jimmy to pull take part in this movie, and it was that.
And that's it. That, or she was who knows, maybe she was the princess the whole time and she just wasn't recognized because of, I hope there is never a number 3.
Yeah, well, I hope you know that you've doomed yourself to reviewing every Rebel Moon movie that comes out now.
Yep. That's why I need those recommendations, folks. Please give me your good science fiction things so I can wash this taste out of my mouth.
Oh man. All right, moving on over to acting. Very excited to get into this. Starting off.
This is a strange one for me. I don't know how I'm going to do this.
Yeah. So let's see. We got Sophia Boutella, who plays Cora. We have Ed Skrein, who plays Atticus Noble. Jamon Hounsou, who plays Titus. Stas Nair, who plays Tarek. I want to say Michael Hausman, who plays Gunner.
Seems right to me.
Bae Duna, who played Nemesis.
Great name.
Yeah. Anthony Hopkins, who did the voice for Jimmy. And then Gina Malone, who played Harmata.
Nah, I think it's Jenna, or maybe it
Or
is
is it
Gina.
Jenna?
But she was the one that had like the black across her eyes or whatever, like that little like
Yes.
makeup mask.
I believe so. That was very much a guess on my part.
Yeah. She was another one that they were like, look how badass she is, and then did literally nothing with her.
Yeah, she was like she was sitting in the barn just kind of like popping shots off, like, and then like
Yeah,
ducking
like,
down, and then when she realized, "Ooh, I could take that thing out," she like crawls down and just kind of like sneaks her way to this basically AT-AT on freaking that needs Weight Watchers.
like I know we're into acting now, but I just one more thing I have to say, like they didn't need to assemble this team. Like they could have gotten the people that were there to do the things that this team did. Like the only thing I'll give you is the using the wheat and flour to like shield themselves against, but other than that, like everyone was useless to be there.
Dude, I don't know about you, but I had a real issue with how much wheat they were bundling at one time. I feel like that doesn't
Yes.
seem like enough.
Yes. Same. Or how they would just like throw it on the ground and then the next thing you know, it's in like these perfect bundles. I'm like, all right, like what do and with the amount that you're bringing back and the amount that you're putting in bags, like there is a wild discrepancy here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I feel like what this was missing is we needed a bigger pile of wheat because all we saw was just like not even to the shins
Yeah,
level,
like ankle high freaking just like almost
tiny
like
ass little but
mats.
like you can like you didn't need tools to pick those up. You could have just
No.
like handed them over. They didn't look heavy. Like I was like when they were harvesting this, I was expecting like the full blown like freaking wheels of wheat.
Yes. And no, not
And
that at all.
yeah, we didn't not even a little bit. But yeah, I had a big issue with that.
Oh,
Uh,
Jesus. I know who my
yeah,
number 1 is, but I don't know where anybody comes after that. Yeah.
yeah, same here.
Like, what's his how do you say his last name? Ed what?
I said Ed Screen.
Screen. Yeah, he was great, man. Like, this dude clearly was like, "Yeah, I have come here to have some fun, and I'm gonna do that now. Thank you very much." And I would honestly, I would watch it. I would have watched a whole movie about him being mad, like, and just going and wrecking shop places. Like, he was crazy in he his acting was how I wish everyone had acted in this movie because everyone else was in a soap opera and this dude was in a movie.
Yeah. Oh, dude, freaking um I don't know if anyone else could have pulled it off the way that he did. The scene where he calls that private out for lying to them, and he's like,
Oh,
"It seems the young private's chosen his side." I was like, if anyone else would have called him out on that shit, I was like, "Bullshit." Like, he was selling
uh,
that pretty damn well, but with him, like, it just I don't know
he
what it was,
seems
like
evil. Yeah, he's
yeah.
just like he's just seems like a bad man. Whereas like yeah, no one else was believable in the way that he was.
Yeah, so, I mean, the private played it a little too serious for me, and so, like, I was like, "Eh," like, I know that he's lying to them, but it's still, like, there's if he I feel he sold the second one where that freaking this dude called him out on. I felt that performance was better than the first one that he was talking to just that one commander
Dude, I gotta
or the
see what
captain, whatever he was.
I
'Cause the first
cannot.
one, he was like he felt like he was very nervous, very, like, sweaty, and then this one like, the other one the second time when he was watching, it felt like he had a little bit more confidence, and it almost sounded like genuine disdain for these villagers, and I'm like, "Okay, I actually probably
Yeah.
would have bought that." Like, the first one, I would have been very suspicious of. The second one, I probably would have fallen for.
So who's number 2 and 3, Caleb? That's the real question.
Oh man.
Who possibly could come in? Let's just start with number 2. Who is second to this guy? Because yeah,
That's a tough one.
the only thing I can say is I would put Anthony Hopkins at number 2, only because I just like Anthony Hopkins and I liked who I wanted the character of Jimmy to be, even though he was nothing. Yeah. And I mean that's that's
I would probably give my number 2 to Jamon Hounsou. Or
I take it
Hounsou.
back. I switch my 2 and 3. He is number 2 and Anthony Hopkins is 3. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna give my number 3 to Sofia Boutella. I felt like her flashback scenes in particular were really good. But I think she's a good actress. She just keeps getting put into shit roles.
I was gonna say, like, I didn't really like her that much in the first one, but I would much rather watch the first one again than watch her in this one, because this one was not good for her.
Yeah, dude, it freaking blows because, like I said, her ability to act is really good. It's just she just keeps getting put in bullshit. Like going through her filmography, Kingsman, Secret Service. She was the one with the sword leg.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I liked her in that. Star Trek Beyond, I freaking loved her in that. Let's see, Kingsman, Golden Circle. I didn't hate that one, or that was just archive footage. Never mind.
Oh, from the I heard it sucked. I know we were gonna watch it at one point, but Argyle, she was in that.
Yeah, but I mean, she has a really good, like I said, it just she keeps getting thrown in shit, and it bothers me.
Oh, she was in Atomic Blonde. I never saw that, but I heard that was really good.
That movie was really good. I don't think she played a super big. Oh, I guess she got nominated for an award for best supporting. All right, never mind. I don't remember that film very well. I do remember her in The Mummy, and I don't. She was pretty good in that. The movie overall sucked, but I remember her being good.
You know, it's funny because I heard someone say this, and it's 100% true. Anyone who was in The Mummy, I don't blame them at all, except for Tom Cruise, because one of the main guys that was in it, like, he had a story about being like, yeah, Tom Cruise, like, called me. He wanted me to be this guy in this movie. And, like, if Tom Cruise wants you in a movie, I'm leaving everything. I'm leaving my life and I'm going to be in that movie. Like, I don't care if it is the biggest piece of garbage there ever was. I'm about to be in a Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah. I don't know if I've heard any like super negative Tom Cruise lore other than like obviously his Scientology shit.
Well, he's
And
not, I don't think he has negative so much as like his intensity is in such a way that like it is off-putting. Like
a little bit. Like I think that's probably the only issue that I've really heard is just he's intent. But I mean, I've also heard him like standing up for like the people behind the scenes, like the crew.
yes.
Because like have you heard that like clip of him like basically ripping some dude to shreds over like not treating some of the crew fairly?
Yeah, I think the one that I heard, well, maybe that was it. I know I heard one about him being mad. I don't know. I can't remember. It was something. It was during COVID time, and I think it was when they were making No, they were making what's the other one? Top Gun, I think. And there was some. I don't know. He was yelling about something because of all the. I lost interest halfway through the story I was telling. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember one coming from that too, where he was talking about safety.
Yeah, it was
And
something.
like it was a big safety issue, and he was like he doesn't play around with safety, and I'm like, I'm here for that.
I mean, listen, I'm down. Like I said, I wouldn't like want to be on a Tom Cruise movie, but if he wanted me to be on it, then I would be like, yeah, of course. But yeah, no, I don't want to do like I don't want to deal with that. I don't like people that are that intense about the thing. Like when it's safety, sure, I want to be safe. But like if we're just at our job, hey man, you're the one making all the money here. Why don't you relax? Like, you know who doesn't have any stories like that about them where they're too much, but they still do really cool stuff for the cast and the crew? Keanu Reeves. So tell me more about how you have to be like that, Thomas Cruise. Like you can be chill. It's possible.
Dude, total side note. How perfect is it that he's voicing Shadow?
Dude, that's nuts. I just heard that. Shadow the Hedgehog for all of you uninitiated. Yeah, that's great. I listen, the Sonic franchise of movies, I say is up there with any of the best video game adaptations of movies to date. And now that they've brought Jim Carrey out of retirement and Keanu Reeves into the ring, like bro.
I pray that they address that. Obviously, unless they do some like heavy modification to his voice, but I hope they address it because Sonic was watching Speed behind Donut Lord, and obviously Keanu Reeves is like the main guy in that.
Character, yeah.
Yeah, they have like a whole bit about Keanu Reeves in Sonic, and I pray that they address it.
I love that Keanu Reeves is down for everything.
Dude, he seems like such a cool guy.
Dude, I think I talked about this one time on here too, but I just got done playing Cyberpunk 2077, and he is a character in that game. God dang it, man. There is not much that guy cannot do. Like he's a great character in that game. I don't want to say anything else because it'll be a spoiler, but it was, yeah, it's great. Keanu Reeves or Tom Cruise, be more like Keanu.
Yeah. Oh man. Anyway, total side tangent there.
That's all right.
But yeah, I liked her performance enough in this to give her in the top 3, but I do feel like she was definitely outshadowed by the bad guy in Titus.
Yeah. I would agree.
Yeah. So where are you sitting with acting?
Well, that's the thing is old Eddie boy, like he's really ruining what I want to do to acting. But I think the highest I can give this is like I want to give it a 70 so bad, but even just thinking about it makes my heart hurt. Yeah, no, I think I will. I'm going to give it a 70.
My baseline for just average is 75, and I think that's about where I'm sitting.
Okay.
I think everyone gave a fairly average. I don't think anyone was significantly better or worse. Like I think they gave a very middle of the road performance in this.
Well, I think there was Ed Skrin or whatever his name is, and then everybody else. Like that was the problem. Is like this was even though he had so little time in it, this was his movie, in the sense that he acted his face off, and everybody else was like, "All right, we're very serious and very." Again, it reminded me very much of like a soap opera. Everybody else.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm going to be at a 75. All right, moving on over to character development, of which there was basically none.
Yeah, literally none. Like whatever development happened in the first one, which was like there was some, because she went from, I'm an outcast and I'm going to live off the land with these farm people to like, all right, I got to protect these people. And then wherever she ended that first movie with, She started at the second movie and ended this movie with the exact same feelings she had. I don't think anybody, if anything, everyone else kind of like whatever arc they were having just kind of like dipped into like, I don't even know. The arc wasn't even down. It was like, yeah, there was no development anywhere that I can think of.
Yeah, this very much felt like a second half to a movie, and like it's all of the length of being a movie with none of the freaking effort.
Well, and the where they sat around telling their war stories, that was supposed to be character development time. That's
Yep.
where you were supposed to be like, okay, well, look at this is where they came from. This is where they want to be. Oh my God, these people, I hope they win. None of that. None of that at all.
Yeah, and it's all because we got her backstory too early. If they would have held on to that and given us the backstory of everyone else and then given us her backstory at the end, I feel like that would have helped a lot. Like add some like mystique to her story. A little bit at least, but no. This is fairly low for me. Like this is where I'm like in the 60s, probably at 60.
I can match you with that. Ugh.
All right, where this movie is going to get a lot of points made up for.
Mhm.
Moving on over to effects. Holy balls! Did this looks so good?
It was amazing. Every shot looked amazing. Like everything looked exactly like you would want it to look. Like not to spoil wardrobe or whatever either, costumes, but like everything. Like the way they were dressed, the way it just somehow better than the first one. Like
It
because the
was. It totally was, dude. Like oh man, I was just about to say that too.
like even like we were saying like in the weird assassination scene with all like the people in their weird Illuminati hats or whatever, like it looked, again, it was the thing, if you had it on mute it looked so cool. You're like, what the hell could be happening right now? And it was you know how they have the black and white version of Mad Max Fury Road? They need to release the silent version of this movie.
I would watch that.
Like it's score only, no dialogue at all.
That has potential. That would definitely have potential behind it. But yeah, dude, everything looked like hyper realistic. Like
Yeah.
my biggest just like jaw on the ground moments are when the freaking dreadnoughts in the air with the clouds. Like that
Yes.
shot was incredible.
Short but incredible.
Yeah. And then a lot of like the action sequences were freaking killer.
Yeah, like when they were exploding stuff in the fields or whatever, like it looked like it was doing damage.
Yeah. It like if gosh, I mean the freaking special effects felt like they had more weight than any of the dialogue. Because when
Yes.
shit exploded, like you could almost feel it.
Yes. I
And
agree. I agree
oh,
100%.
it was so good. Dude, I actually know I at least maybe it was my eyes playing tricks on me, but I noticed when Admiral Noble like had escaped and he was like back on the dreadnought and telling everyone to fire. Like I remember the first time after like that explosion happened and looking at him, it looked like his eyebrows and everything were like singed off. I don't know if they
I
were just
didn't know.
like
That's hilarious.
I don't know if that was the case or anything. Like it could, like I said, could have just been like maybe his eyebrows were really light and he had a bunch of dirt on, but it looked like he didn't have eyebrows, and I was like, "That's fantastic."
Yeah. Yeah, this I can't think of anything that I didn't like. Like the only thing that I thought I don't even know if this is effects wise. I guess it kind of is. But whenever the daughter was assassinated, whenever Cora shot her, like did she like because it didn't actually show it, right? Like, did she actually shoot her?
Yes. So she
'Cause-
shot her, but then she like burst into like light.
But did she? Because I almost thought it because it looked like it was just something like coming like out of her chest or like her midsection or something. Because like you saw her like fall backwards and you saw that like light coming up out of her with the little sparklies or whatever. But I don't remember like her whole body turning, or did it?
No, her whole body didn't, but like you see Cora fire the shot. And so like it shows the gun and then it shows like the blast and then it shows the princess's face and then she's just kind of has that moment where she like not launches but just kind of like
Yeah.
falls backward, but while she's falling backward like you see like at that initial hit of the blast, like it hits but then it like sparks, like the yellow sparkles come kind of like flying around her, and then when she falls and hits the ground there's more like a yellow light coming from her,
Yeah.
but
That was.
it's not like emanating from her. It's like it feels like it's coming from like where the wound is.
Yeah, and that was the thing that like I said, I don't think this is really effects because I guess it was conveyed by effects, but like clearly something was different when she got shot because like that didn't happen to anybody else, and she was shooting them with the same gun. So
Oh
yeah.
my dude, how trippy were those freaking engines? The dreadnought engine that looked
I
like a person.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yes. By the way, I was like in the midst of like trying to stay awake during that, but I'm like, I do remember being like, what the hell am I looking at?
Yeah, when she was like setting all those charges and then she kind of looks down and then the thing like looks up at her. I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
Like what the like what is that?
Well,
It
that's it. This is one more case of this movie having cool stuff in it that like it just is like, no, this isn't for you. This is for someone else.
um apparently that I am curious to know if this is true, but uh have you never watched like the OG Dune, right?
No.
Okay, so the way that space travel works is there's these like mutated like little babies that are just hyped up on spice, and that's how they like space travel is possible within the Dune world. And so that's kind of what I thought was the situation here, or it was like very heavily mimicking that.
Hmm.
Like, let me
Oh,
see.
okay. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah, Dune. I mean, listen, people can't see this, but I have brought myself into this thing as slowly becoming a Dune fan. Because Rebel Moon, I hated Dune. I did not like it at all. Not gonna lie, Caleb, my nephew expressed a little bit of interest in like, I know you said Dune was bad, but like Wonka was good and Timothy Chalamet. After seeing Rebel Moon, I think I might give Dune another shot. Like, I know I'm gonna feel the same way about it, but like after seeing this, I feel in my heart like Dune might have a shot again.
I I want to give part two a chance just because I do really like Timothy Chalamet. Um, and then if I like part two enough, I'll try and give the first one another chance.
Like what's crazy is I want to like that movie. Like I legitimately I came into Rebel Moon or into Dune the same way I came into Rebel Moon. Because if you remember, like I suggested us watching Rebel Moon, the first one, because
Yep.
I legitimately was like, this hate is unwarranted for this movie. Like Zack Snyder, give that man a chance. And look at us now. Look at us now on the Scargiver, just hating on it. Like it's just I anyway, effects, I'm giving effects. I think I'm giving effects a 100. Like, I don't know how they could have been better than what they were. And I stand by, if any movie that you could put on mute and just look at and be like, this is amazing. Like, how do you not give that a 100? Like, it's,
Well, for me, pretty easily, I'm giving it a 92.
I mean, you're
It's
not
still,
wrong.
yeah, it's still well within the 90s, but yeah, I like they look fantastic.
Like, what would bring it from a 92 to a 100 or even a 99 for you? Like, what could this movie have done differently? Because I legitimately, like, I really don't know, like, what a movie, like, I'm not saying that there couldn't be movies that look better than this, but what I am saying is that, like, this movie looks as good as you could possibly want it to look. To me, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head like what improvements could be made. I do know that there was like maybe one or two random shots that I was a little like, but it wasn't necessarily like on the special effects side. It was more on the action sequences.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think of one. Oh, so when the original lover boy, the one that was super into Cora, that like was proposing to her and everything, and from the first,
Mhm.
when he was fighting Noble, and Noble killed him and then kicked him from the ship, and you just kind of see him fall from the ship and then like hit the ground. I was like, oh damn! But like if like the fall looked good, it's just like the impact was a little too like bah, like too stiff. But it felt like that it still looked like it had weight and stuff, but it's yeah, a lot of my issues came from some stunt work that I felt like maybe it was just timed different or timed off. Um like I'm trying to like when when the first dude comes like popping from the ground like a freaking prairie dog with the rocket launcher, and Noble's just like, ah! Like it felt like it took a little too long. I'm like, I feel like someone could have reacted to the freaking in it before he like fired off the shot. Like it should have been like pop, and then he like fires it off, and all's good with the world. But it's just
You know what's funny? I have the exact opposite feeling about that, because now that you remind me of that, I don't know that anyone could have reacted. But one thing that I did think is, man, he is mighty close for having a missile launcher that he is about to shoot basically 15 feet in front of him.
I know I would have been in that trench being like, I thought they were gonna park further away.
Like, he was super close. I was like, so they just all died, even this guy, huh? Because that's crazy.
Like on the bright side, it can't miss.
The dark side, I only get one shot.
Yeah. Dude, I freaking say that like because I was just playing Halo 3 with my brothers, and I got the rocket launcher, and they were like so close to me. So close, and I missed. Like my rocket went like straight past them. I'm like, God damn it.
Uh,
Man, but yeah, I'd say it was more stunt work than anything that brought it down. But still, like it was good work overall.
yeah, I can dig it. I'm sure someone could pick it apart more for me, and I would be like, yeah, maybe. But honestly, the lowest I could see myself going is like a 98. But I stand by, and for now, unless something else comes up, I stand by my 100.
Yeah. All right, next up we got music.
What is your middle of the road pick? Is it 6 or 7?
Middle of the road's 5. So 5 is like the equivalent of giving it a 75. But I still like the score to this movie.
I was gonna say, like, it wasn't like epic levels of, like, again, this is supposed to be his Star Wars. Like, there was nothing in there that anyone's gonna be humming or whistling or There's no Imperial March. There's no, Star Wars theme. There's none of that. So, I mean, I would probably give it probably like a 7, I think, is the highest I could go with it. Because
I'm personally at a 6 because I feel it's like on the same level as the first, and I think that's what I ended up giving the first one.
well then, yeah. Because wait, so what would if a 5 is a 75, what would a 6 be?
The let me see if I could tell you.
Because I think I might be at a 6 then as well.
Yeah, I don't. Oh wait, that's at the top. Oh no, it's not. I have those references somewhere. I couldn't tell you where on my spreadsheet.
I'm just gonna play it safe and call it a 6.
Yeah. So the way that it's structured, or that the music is the giving a movie a 1 is like the equivalent of giving it a 45. A 10 is 100. 5 is the equivalent of a 75. And then I want to say it goes 75, 80, 85, 90, 100.
Okay, well then definitely 6 is the right call.
Yeah.
For sure, 6 is the right call.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we got costumes. And it has been a minute since we've called some costumes out, but there's a few that I wanted to talk about.
Please.
All right. So first up, we got like the royal outfits. Which
I like that, by the way. Go ahead.
Like what?
No. I was gonna say I liked all of the royal clothing.
I do too. I feel Princess Issa is summoning a little bit too much Princess Peach.
I can dig that. I will say though, like the king, which by the way, did you know that was what's his face? From the only thing I can think of is from the Saw movies. He's the guy that had cut his foot off.
Yeah.
I did not like. He does not look like him, like that guy in that at all. The king, but his crown, like when his crown fell off, like I like the way his crown looked, but when you got to kind of get a better look at it when it fell off, I was like, oh, that crown is actually pretty dope. Like I don't know, like it's not like the normal king's crown you would think of, and I like that a lot.
Yeah. It kind of had like that Caesar, like the leaf vibe
Yeah, like
to it.
I was gonna say,
Like I
like it was
like that
almost
a
like
lot.
natural looking. Yeah.
Yeah, I dug that a lot. And I mean, I love like just the color scheme between everyone. Like even like the queen's outfit is freaking awesome.
Yeah, her crown is great too. By the way, what are those two inquisitors behind them? Why don't we get any of their backstory?
I know, dude. Though, like the masks in this are freaking awesome.
Dude, have you ever played or heard of the game Blasphemous?
No.
Look it up at some point. Anyone listening, look it up. And if you want to see like the kind of like cool mask work, like just about any mask from Blasphemous is kind of been brought to life, at least in these two Inquisitor looking dudes. The whole game is like that. I see you looking at it right now,
Yeah.
Caleb.
Okay. Those are pretty cool. That's some like nightmare fuel. Like
Yeah,
some of these.
exactly. Well, and look at you can see the mouth or whatever, the eyes and the mouth of this like Inquisitor thing behind the queen. Like that's nightmare fuel. Like that looks insane. If that thing was coming after you, you would not be like, okay, I guess I'll pull out my sword and swing it. Like you would be crying.
Yeah. Yeah, that can definitely be said about these. Yeah, the next outfit would be
Yeah,
Jimmy. Jimmy looked freaking dope, but I
Jimmy
feel
looks
like they nuked
badass.
his headdress.
Oh, you mean when they took away his antlers?
Yeah.
Dude, that was so when he walked in there and he didn't have his antlers on, I was like, why even show him with the antlers to begin with?
I
Like
know. Like
this
you
looks
freaking
cool, by
nuked
the
him,
way.
dude.
This looks cool if you didn't know that there was a version of this with antlers.
Yep.
Just so goofy.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever played For Honor, but it feel like there are different like head dresses that you can choose
Mhm.
for your warriors, and this feels like one of them. But then they also have one with like big ass antlers, and I'm like, I'd much rather have that.
Dude, that's the druids in Diablo 4. Like that's yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah, I love the design of Jimmy, like the detail that went into just like the decoration on his chest and everything is fantastic.
That's the thing. Everything you can say if you were I wish we were live so people could be looking at this right now, but just a picture of him, like you can see his blue eyes, and he's got like, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, probably like a dozen more lights on his face that are supposed to be just like the mask on the mask, I guess. Like it, for as much thought as they put into this design of this guy, just again, it is will never not be disappointing that they just did nothing with this character at all.
I know. He came into the game way too freaking late. Like when he was talking to Cora, I was like, okay, about freaking time.
I thought
And
I
then he disappeared.
literally, yeah, I was literally right before he showed up. I was like, "Is this dude ever gonna be here?" And then he rolls up like a freaking fog in the night. I was like, "Oh, here it comes. We're finally gonna do this thing." And he was like, "Anyway, fog away," and then he's gone. I'm like, "All right, cool. I guess. Thanks for showing me the robot in space."
Yeah. So really liked his outfit. I thought like
Yes.
super cool. Um, I think it's the next one. Okay. His beard looks super fake.
His by the way, you will never convince me that that's not a wig on his head too.
Nope. Say, yeah, absolutely agree. Yeah, bad choices. The outfit overall, kind of cool. The senators in the background, pretty cool. But yeah, this dude's uh, hair and
I mean,
makeup situation, no bueno.
if you look at like right by his eyes, like where they go back down towards his cheekbone, like it makes it look like he's just wearing like a human mask. Like the whole thing looks fake. Like it's wild to look at.
Yeah, I think they went a little overboard on the everything.
On the everything is right. But I agree. I like how they have like again, they got the leaf thing going on, like the Caesar-ish like motif, like this oversized, like dramatic like suit, I guess that you could say he has on. And you can see the people with it in the background too. Like, yeah, it's as far as what he's wearing, like again, it feels appropriate. It feels good, like for what they're doing. Like they're being over dramatic and ridiculous, and that's exactly kind of how they look.
I'd say my only real complaint with this guy's casting is I don't feel like he aged up properly, like relative to Cora. For someone that's like technically her father figure and everything, like I feel like they should cast someone that's a bit older.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
Like I
Like
hate that I feel like it'd be like stereotyping him as just kind of like the a great general leader, but Clancy Brown, I feel would have filled this role really well.
who's Clancy Brown?
He's the one that does the voice for Mr. Krabs.
You know what's funny? I was just gonna say they should have switched him and Anthony Hopkins. Like he should have done the Jimmy voice and have Anthony Hopkins be this character. I mean, probably too old, but someone that is at least because by the way, what Mr. Krabs voice guy, he's 8,000 years old as well. Uh,
I know, but he's
but
still like intimidating because he like you remember that the Prison Break episode of Mandalorian?
yes. By the
Yeah, he
way,
was the big red dude.
let me defend myself for just a second though. I just realized too, I also have the like younger version of Anthony Hopkins in my head that's like
Yeah,
not
Anthony
as like
Hopkins now
old
is kind
and
of old and frail.
yeah. It's funny because I was thinking about it and I'm like, yeah, I guess that doesn't make sense because he is way too old.
Yeah, for someone that like is a battle general or a former battle general, like I think Anthony Hopkins is kind of a little past his prime.
All
Like
right.
I think you ideally for someone like that, I think you need someone in their like mid 50s.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. You are correct, sir.
Yeah, the next outfit that I'm going to call out here is Nemesis.
Yes,
So I feel like you've watched the show that I'm thinking of.
please.
What does this outfit remind you of? Or did this remind you of anything?
I mean, looking at it right now, it makes me think of like her hat makes me think of the Wizard of Oz. She seems like a wicked witch. I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to be thinking. I feel like I'm going to say the wrong answer.
No, no, you're not. It's I'll just show you because this is when I saw her initially. This is immediate. This is exactly what I pictured.
Is it going to be from Avatar?
No,
Oh, ha ha! Oh my God! It is Crow Rick.
dude, it's this like look at his shirt and then go back to hers. It is the same damn
Oh my
color.
God. You put some wings on this lady and she is Crow Rick, Queen of the Crows. That is so good. I'm so glad. Oh my God. All right. Well, maybe my vote just went up to iconic instead of that's
Oh man.
amazing.
Yeah, I wouldn't quite put them at iconic, but I do feel like the costumes in this are a little bit better than the first.
Yes, I agreed.
I think last time I gave the costumes a 7. I think that they've bumped themselves up to an 8.
I'm honestly the only reason I'm not giving them a 10 is because of goofy Tarzan man wearing a shirt the whole time, like just looking like he's about to go to work at an office. Like, what the hell? You're the barbarian. Like, you're literally the muscle. Like, what are you doing? But I'm gonna give it a 9 though. Like, I think again, like it's shocking to me how good this movie looks.
Yeah. Dude, you want to know some bullshit? What is up with the frickin' rebellion coming in last second once all the hard work is done?
That's
Like
the way of it.
I know. I was watching like when they finally started coming in, I was like, "Who the hell are these guys?" And then I saw that it was like the rebellion. I was like, "Dude, day late and a dollar short. What the hell?"
I listen, this movie, I almost need to watch the ending again because like I'm realizing I didn't realize that Gunnar died. Like I ever since you told me that he died, I have been trying to conjure the shape of his dead body in my head and I can't do it. Like I can't imagine him dying, none of it. All I remember from the end of this movie, I remember this movie happening, and then I remember it ending with them going, and the princess is still out there to be continued. And I was like, no, like, why are you leaving yourself open for more of this nonsense? Like, enough. Haven't we had enough? Haven't we seen enough?
Yeah, evidently not.
No, evidently not, indeed.
um all right, last up we got our own personal scores. So let's hear yours.
Again, I just want to say to everyone listening right now, if you didn't listen to Rebel Moon Part 1 that I was also a part of, I brought this into existence for the All Brothers podcast. Like, I truly came into both of these movies thinking to myself, this is going to be good. Like, the critics are saying that this movie is no good, but they are haters, and I don't believe it. And I'm here to tell you it's all true. Everything they said. Like, it's not a good movie. Like, it doesn't even, I can't even go with you as Jacob. What is wrong with me? Caleb, to say that I even think this thing has like good bones. Like, it's not. It's just not a good movie. Like, it's not a good movie, it's not a good sequel. Actually, I take it back. It kind of is a good sequel in the sense that, like, it looks better than the last one did. So I guess it kind of is better, but it's just not. It's just not. I am giving my personal grade to this movie as a 59, the highest F you can give it. Just because I do think there were redeeming things about this, but like, not, they weren't redeeming to the movie, they were redeeming unto themselves, like Atticus and Jimmy, and they just, yeah, the costumes in general, like, they looked good in spite of what the movie was. The effects looked good in spite of what the movie was. It just, even though there were good things happening, none of it made the movie any better.
Yeah. That you're not wrong. Oh man.
Sorry, Zack Snyder.
Yeah, I see the potential of what this could have been, and I feel like I hold it in a little higher regard. But yeah, it's not the best movie in the world by a freaking mile. But I want to, like, if it's true and we're going to get a rated R cut with like a little bit more in-depth story and whatnot, I am interested enough to see that.
This movie was 2+ hours long.
I
Caleb.
know, but I feel like there's some story, like, I don't know. I'm holding out hope that maybe Zack Snyder just isn't able to make short movies. Even, like, I know this is long. I know this is long, but I think that maybe he just needs more time to get what he really wants out. And I'm hoping that's the case, because I hope the rated R cut's much better.
Did you like the Snyder cut of the Justice League?
I liked it better than the theatrical cut.
Jesus Christ, you're gonna make me watch this freaking rated R version.
I listen, unless it is like significantly different, I will not recommend it to
That
you
is what he
unless it
was
is
saying.
significantly different.
What he was trying to tell me about this rated R version when he was on Joseph Rogan's podcast was that it is going to be significantly different. But this is also the same guy that told us that Rebel Moon, like, again, everything he said about Rebel Moon was not what I witnessed when I saw that movie. So maybe that's what he's talking about when he's talking about the rated R version. Ugh, are we gonna watch this movie? Listen, if we watch those two stupid ass rated R movies, I will do a quick review where we just do both at the same time. I am right now refusing to do two more full episodes on these shitty movies.
Well, hey, if part 3 and part 4 come out, you're not gonna have a choice. But on the
Or,
rated R, we can definitely do just a quickie.
oh God. Oh God, they're rated so low. Please, God, don't let there be a third and fourth.
But yeah, so I think I'm gonna be giving this a 69 for my personal score.
You're a decent human being. Caleb.
All right. Well, with that wraps up this week's breakdown. So going through these scores, Rebel Moon, the Scargiver, has ended up ranking or sitting at a gosh damn it. Going through these categories, Rebel Moon, the Scargiver, the story ended up averaging out to a 66.5.
Mm-hmm.
The writing is sitting 3 points below that at a 63. The acting, it got a pretty decent jump, sitting at a 72.5. The character development, of which there was none, is sitting at a 60. The effects are the highest point of this film, sitting at a 96. The music is sitting at a 6 out of 10. The costumes are an 8 out of 10.
Yep.
And then our personal score ended up averaging out to a 64. So with that, the final All Bros and Untrained Eye letter grade for Rebel Moon, the Scargiver, has come out to a C minus.
This is horseshit. I quit. You know what? I was waiting, but I resign from this show forever. Goodbye. C minus. What did Rebel Moon get?
Good question.
It
I
must
had
have
all of
gotten-
these categorized,
It
but
had to have
they
gotten
kind of
lower.
they got kind of screwed up.
I feel like the effects is what really made this movie go somewhere it shouldn't have been.
Oh man. How did oh man, dude. Rebel Moon. Okay. So just getting into these so Rebel Moon also scored a C minus.
Okay.
But Rebel Moon the Scargiver is sitting at a 72.75%.
Uh-huh.
Where part 1 is sitting at a 71.95%.
Wow.
So the Scargiver actually ended up scoring higher.
So I actually agree with that, only again on the effects and the costumes. Like that's because otherwise that was the only thing that set it apart. Wait a minute, which one did you say was higher? This one was, right? The Scargiver. Yeah, I said it was the only thing that set it apart. Because otherwise it was basically the same movie again, just the continuation.
Yeah. So you want to hear what it's above first or what it's below?
I need to hear what it's below first, because the aboves are gonna, I hope, make me and everyone else very angry.
So this is at the top end of C minus. So there's only one other C minus movie above this, and it's the Tom and Jerry movie.
Huh.
The one with Chloe Grace Moretz that came out.
I know it, but I didn't see it.
Yeah. So, and then you're getting into C territory, which puts it below Space Jam: A New Legacy. It is below Tenacious D and The Pick of Destiny.
Oh, it's below that. Okay.
Below.
Wait. So Space Jam, the new Space Jam is better than this movie. Okay.
Yes. Yes. And then Tenacious D and The Pick of Destiny.
I will agree with that.
Then Saltburn.
Saltburn should be closer to this movie.
Honestly, it's really freaking close. It's 0.9% difference.
Yeah, should be closer.
Yeah. Then it is below Scoob.
I never saw Scoob, but that makes me sad that Scoob is so low.
Yeah, and then it is below
B minus or I'm sorry, C category. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, so these are all these other ones are C's. Then it's below Venom.
Yeah, for sure. If you're going with sci-fi, Venom was way better than this.
All right, going the opposite direction. It is
All right,
sitting
give me some.
above. It is sitting above X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, okay. Dark Phoenix was pretty bad.
It's sitting above Morbius as well.
I've not seen Morbius, but I've hear it's not great.
Yeah. So Morbius and Dark Phoenix are like the exact same score.
That's hilarious. Dark Phoenix, I would actually watch that. This movie was so bad, I would watch a lot of movies that I thought I didn't like again, and Dark Phoenix is one of them.
Yeah. It is sitting above Rebel Moon. It is above Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Now, was that one that was just you and Rose, or did someone else have a hand in that nonsense?
I want to say some other people had a say in that, but I do believe that they brought it up.
Really?
Yes.
So Rose is it you or Rose that is the hater of The Last Jedi?
I think we both pretty much equally dislike it.
That's hilarious. I have my problems with it, but anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
It is also above Madam Web.
Above. Nah, Madam Web should be above this movie. This was Madam Web was bad. I would watch Madam Web once a week for 6 months than watch this movie again.
Well, you want to know what I'm pretty sure it came down to? I think it's because the costumes were better.
Yeah, because Madam Web's costumes were nothing. They were just like, hey, you going outside? Here's some clothes.
Yeah. And then finally, it is above Cats.
I never saw it. I feel like one day I do need to see that movie, though.
Yeah, that is one. The soundtrack saved that movie. Like, the soundtrack's freaking kick ass. Like,
yeah,
that's funny because I'm pretty sure, like, with Cats specifically, it got pretty much failing on everything except for a 10 out of 10 on music. And then costumes, I think we ended up giving that a 5 or a 4. I forget what we ended up giving it. Let me see if I can find that just for shits and giggles. Oh, we gave it a 5.
There you go.
But yeah, the effects is pretty sure the lowest score we've ever given anything on Cats. We gave that a 31.
Even Food Fight or whatever. What's that movie? The animated piece of trash.
Yeah, what did we give Food Fight? Yeah, even lower than Food Fight. We gave Food Fight a 33.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. I gotta watch that. I gotta watch Cats. I might have to dispute this.
But yeah, so that is where Rebel Moon is sitting.
33. All right. Well, I think it's for one of the first times ever. I think we finally found a good home for a movie. I think it should be in the D- instead of the C-, but I'll take it.
Yeah. It's funny how like the different categories will affect, like, because music and costumes will always kind of bump something up.
Yeah, because this movie does not deserve the C- that it has, like, by any stretch. And that's what I mean by, like, the parts don't make the whole any better. Because even though the music and the costumes were good, like, the movie still, it's an injustice to other C- to put this at a C-.
Yeah. But
we did it.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, with that wraps up this week's breakdown. DJ, do you want to tell everyone where they can find you when you eventually kick things back up again?
Make my grand reentrance. You can find me and my lovely wife Bethany on the podcast known as the Untrained Eye. Look it up right now. Check out our last episode. I have no idea what it was, but it was in November of 2023. See what the past was like. Again, with your recommendations of any kind of good sci-fi, please at Untrained Eye Pod, at Untrained iPod, EYEPOD on everything, but I'm mainly on Instagram, so check it out, man or woman.
Hell yeah.
Hey, I'll take lady suggestions.
Well, we will be posting, or yeah, I'll tag all the places you can find DJ in the episode description. But if you like this episode, want to check out more of our stuff, you can find me and my hetero life partner, Rose, on anywhere podcasts are available, all social media, Facebook, not Twitter anymore, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. We're all at the All Bros. You can also find all of our stuff on our website, tinyurl.com/the All Bros. If you want to hit us up with an episode idea, want to join us for an episode, whatever the case may be, the best way to contact us would be through our email, which once again you can find in our website, or you can just email the allbroschannel@gmail.com. Next week, Rose is going to be out of commission that week, but we will be joined by Big Ben Bowman to break down the latest remake. I think. I'm trying to think if there's any more recent ones, but we'll be breaking down the remake of Roadhouse.
This might finally be my excuse to watch that movie because I had zero interest in it at all.
Yeah. I was trying to come up with ideas of episodes that we could do, and that was one that I've been wanting to do because I watched it. I'm like, this is just utterly ridiculous. And Riley was actually the one that's like, dude, you should get Ben since he's actually seen the OG. And I'm like, has he talked about it before? And they're like, I haven't heard him personally. I'd be shocked if he didn't.
I was gonna say, even if he has, he's the perfect guy to be on for that.
Yeah, so I will be breaking that one down with him next week, and I'm super excited about it. I actually am probably going to rewatch it because I was laughing so hard the first go around.
That's a good sign.
It's a good time. It's ridiculous, over the top. It's kind of exactly what I imagined the original being. It doesn't take itself seriously whatsoever, but it's funny as shit. So yeah, so you guys can look forward to that next week. Until then, this has been the All Bros Podcast. I'm Caleb.
And I'm DJ.
And we'll catch you guys next time. Deuces.
So long.